So to remind you, we're looking at how the Congressional Committee, whoops, we need to do that, how the Congressional Committee influences public policy making on their end. We know they create legislation that affects the people, which are members of interest groups, and we know they create a budget that affects the bureaucratic agency. So they allocate or dole out money to allow the agency to actually implement the laws that they write. So on the next side, so again, remember interest groups, like I said in the first video, interest groups are going to be in blue. So now the interest group, direction here, the interest groups are going in a way that is, towards the Congressional Committee. So what does the interest group give to the Congressional Committee? So to influence the Congressional Committee to write laws that favor the members of their interest groups, the interest group might donate money to their campaigns. They also provide them with information. Here are the laws we want you to pass. Here are the laws that we think will help our agents, our group the most. And so while Congress is writing legislation to help out the members of the interest group is also holding a connection to them through campaign contributions and through information. The interest group is also providing information to the bureaucracy as well, and that's important to know. The other thing they provide for the bureaucracy is support. They say, hey, you guys want money from Congress? You tell us what money you need, we'll provide that information and that idea to Congress as well. So the interest group has a lot of power in this network because without their support for the agency's budget requests, the agency might not get that budget allocated to them from Congress. So it's all a tight network of policy making is what we're seeing here. The final leg of the triangle is the bureaucratic organization. The EPA, the FDA, the FBI, all of that part, all of the USDA, all of those organizations are part of the bureaucracy like we've learned before. So what we're seeing now is what is the bureaucracy? How can they influence Congress? Well, the bureaucracy gives Congress information. The bureaucracy says to Congress, this is what we need from you. These are what we need from your laws. We need help. We can't implement this law if it's not written properly. The other thing the bureaucracy does is if a constituent has an issue, they can help, the bureaucracy can help with his complaints. Remember constituency services. When we say a congressional member with casework, provides that service to the constituent and says, oh, you need help getting your Social Security check, I'll help get that, I'll help you out with that. Well, they can also do that with the bureaucratic components of the Iron Triangle. They can say, oh, you mean you need help from the FDA with this implementation of policy or this regulation or this administrative function. The Congressional Committee has the ability to get that, to connect them to that bureaucracy. So when the members of the agency helps the constituents, that then again helps the Congressional Committee, the members of Congress. And so that's again how they all work. That's how the bureaucratic agency influences Congress, by providing them with information and also by helping out the people that elect the Congressional Committee members. So now let's put this all together into an understanding of how this creates a triangle. So this is the diagram from your textbook. And what we're seeing here, this is an example of tobacco. The tobacco industry is the example of this iron triangle. That there's, in this example, a tobacco group in the bureaucracy that we'll call the Department of Agriculture. So that's in the cabinet level position that they actually implement and regulate policies dealing with tobacco. The Department of Agriculture does do that. So what they might do is the bureaucracy might provide for the interest groups certain regulations to the tobacco interest that helps them out. They might regulate in a way that favors the interest groups. They're doing that because the interest group is giving them some information. And the interest group is also supporting that department's budget requests. And so they're regulating the tobacco industry in a way that makes these people happy because they're working together. And then the interest group here is providing, let's go back to bureaucracy. What is the bureaucracy then giving to this Congressional Committee? How can the bureaucracy keep connected with the Congressional Committee? Well, the Department of Agriculture gives information to Congress, and it again helps with constituent complaints here. And that's what we're seeing. In return, Congress makes sure to budget properly to the bureaucracy so that they can implement laws the way they need to. Congress also, again, um, the main help here is with budget requests. So the committee here is the Agricultural Committee. So the Agriculture Committee is making sure that the money that the bureaucracy needs to implement the laws is in the right place. They also are writing legislation that's helping the bureaucratic organization as well. And that might not be on here, but something to remember. In return, what's the interest group doing? It's giving campaign contributions to the congressional subcommittee members and the committee members, and it's giving information to the congressional members as well, to the committee members. So once the bureaucracy gives Congress and the committee information, helps out their constituents, once the interest group gives them money and gives them information, Congress then can write laws that helps out the tobacco farmers, and they can also create a budget that helps out the bureaucracy. So that's how it all works together. So this ends up creating this network of policy making, or this network of policy making, is this correct, where everybody's giving something and everybody's getting something. This only works if they're all connected. We call this an iron triangle because once this network happens, it becomes solid and nobody else can get in. So nobody else can get the bureaucracy to regulate the way they want to, or can get the Congress to write legislation the way they want to, unless they're inside this network. This is actually not the way a lot of our policymaking exists today, because an iron triangle suggests that nobody can get into the triangle. An issue network, however, makes these lines a little bit more fuzzy. So if we can think about a line color that's maybe a little bit lighter, like a gray, yep, there we go. So now there's a triangle and network happening, but again, it's not quite as solid. And that's where we get back to an issue network. So I'm going to flip back to the first slide here. An iron triangle we see here are tough. They are tough, but not impossible to get rid of, but they're really strong networks of policy making in our government. However, an issue network is one where many policy issues exist all at one time, and there's a network of many different players affecting policies all at one time. So the triangle still exists, where Congress is writing legislation to help people, allocating money to help the bureaucracy is giving information to Congress, and regulating the people the way that people want to be regulated. This is still happening, but if you're not a part of it in the beginning, you can still get in an issue network. So an issue network is just showing the connection and the relationship between the legislative branch, the executive branch, and then the people and the linkage institution. And so we're seeing all of these people come together to influence each other to make legislation. Now, is there a situation where some people say, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours? If you regulate the way that I want you to, I'll then, be an ear to Congress or get their ear for your budget requests? Absolutely. Or listen, if you write the laws the way that I want you, the way that I would need you to, then I might give you some money for your next campaign. Does that happen? Absolutely. And that's part of the iron triangle, or the issue network, is that scratching backs is happening, or scratching of backs, I should say. So what I want you guys to do now, because this is a lot of information to take in, you're actually looking at a 20-minute presentation. So you've got a network of givers and takers, where policies are getting controlled by people in all parts of our government and society. And so what I want you to do is go back to your note page. What you can read about this also from page 500 to 501. Go back to your note page, please, and create your own iron triangle. This is going to set us up for working on this research assignment in class on Monday and Tuesday. More likely on Tuesday. We're probably going to spend more time going back over this on Monday. Come into class with any questions that you might have. Thank you very much, guys.